All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Fit IT Guy. Today we're going to be installing these brake caliper covers from test launch, and I'm so excited to put these on. I had the wheel covers, but I didn't have the brake caliper covers yet, so I really wanted them. These accentuate the car so much, especially since my car is red. I like the red brake caliper covers. I had red brake caliper covers on my previous Model Y, and I think it just kind of finishes off the exterior look with all the other modifications that you do. Especially when you do wheel covers, you get to see the brake caliper. It's nice to accent it with whatever color you want. They have red, yellow, blue. I almost went for yellow this time, but I figured I'd stick with the red to keep the red theme. So let's go ahead, get the wheel off, and get it installed. So I'm just gonna pop off the wheel cover here. And once we do that, I'm just gonna loosen the bolts for the wheel while the wheel is still on the ground. That way you can actually loosen it. If you jack up the wheel first, or if you jack up the car first and then try to loosen the nuts here, you're gonna have a hard time. So loosen the nuts while the wheel is still on the ground. So I'm going to take my jack pad here and place it in the jack hole. I'm gonna take my car jack here and slide it under and jack it up. All right, that's good. Now I'm just gonna use my impact to take off the rest of the nuts. All right, so now that we did that, we're gonna go ahead and take our brake caliper cover. You wanna make sure that the fake air bleed valve is on the top just to match how it should look, and that this metal tube is on the bottom. And then we're gonna take our plastic bag here with the rear wheel sign, starting with the rear wheel, and take these two brackets here, and we'll take out these two brackets here. So the way it works is these brackets act as clamps. So the bracket screws in through here, and then this clamps into the back of the caliper here like so, and that's kind of what holds it in. And then same for the bottom too. So we're gonna take our L4, we're on the left side of the car, which is the driver's side. We're gonna stick the caliper cover here, this L4 piece. So this is how it's gonna sit basically, like this, and then this will go over like that. And from here we can basically just screw it in. So it comes with a 5mm Allen key. So putting this back here, grabbing the screw for it, grabbing the bolt for it, getting it ready, putting this here, and then screwing in this bolt into the L4 piece. It's a pretty long bolt, so you're going to be turning for a while here. You don't need to do it all the way tight just yet. We're going to put the bottom L5 piece on too, so just enough to hold it so it doesn't fall. So now we're going to take the L5 piece here, and we're going to stick it under where the hole is, and do the same thing we did before. Line it up with the hole here. So this is how the L5 piece goes. It sits behind here, and then it screws in there. So just to show you a little bit of how that goes in, and you can see it's clamping onto the back of the caliper there. I can wiggle this, there's no wiggle. So the next thing you should do that I would highly recommend is, if you have a ratchet, get a 5mm socket, 5mm for the rear wheel, the front wheel is 3mm. And we're just gonna go ahead and tighten this up because it is on technically a moving part. There is a lot of vibration in this area, right? So we wanna make sure we get this nice and tight. The bolts do come with Loctite on them, which is great. I was gonna put Loctite myself, making this as tight as I can without over tightening it. Okay, that's super tight, that's not going anywhere. So you can see how that looks. They do come with Caliper logos, but I'm not sure what this logo is. I would prefer the Tesla logo. So what I did was I went on Amazon and I ordered a set of the Tesla logos. You can get them in whatever color you want. And they do have this piece here. They gave us some kind of like metal diamonds here, blue. And excuse my glove. I only brought one glove and it ripped. I did the other side first just to make sure I was doing everything correctly before I filmed the video for you guys, so that you guys would know exactly how to install this. There's this nice little shiny metal piece. You can stick that on if you want. If not, you can just leave it blank or even take off that black tape there. So that's how that looks. And voila, we are done with the caliper cover install. So all we have to do now at this point is just put the wheel back on. We'll grab a socket here and put our lug nuts in, hand tight slowly, one by one, crisscross pattern. That's the way you're supposed to do it. Halfway in, just going to take my impact, go around in the crisscross again. Now we're just going to tighten it a bit. Since this is the rear, we can tighten it a little bit while the wheel is up due to the parking brake. All right, we're just going to lower the jack here. Very slowly, of course, as you always should. And now we'll fully tighten it. And there you go. This is how the rear brake caliper cover looks with the stock wheel without the wheel cover on. So very nice with the stock wheel. And you can see here with my wheel cover, I still see a ton of the brake caliper cover. Looks really nice. So here's how that looks on the rear versus the front that we didn't do yet. So big difference. You don't just have this solid piece of brake, you don't have the solid piece of silver brake caliper showing. You have a nice red brake caliper now. So it just really enhances the visuals of the car. So next we're going to do the front wheel. Same process, take off the wheel cover. All right, so now we're at the front here. Here is the front brake caliper cover, super big, which is nice because it has to fit over these huge brakes. So one thing I learned from doing the first one is that you want to get the bottom pieces of the caliper screwed in first, but not all the way. And we do this so that we can hold in the caliper while we get the other side done. So you grab these little stair pieces and you just kind of put them over here, and we'll grab the bolt too. And you can kind of just hand tighten these until it starts to get tight. So we're just going to hand tighten these bolts. And these ones are 3mm. So if you have a very thin 3mm, that's great. The kit does come with two separate 3mm Allen keys. One's a very short one and one's a taller one. It actually looks like they just kind of sliced it somehow. But you can take this Allen key and start tightening it that way. However, I think we can still do some of it by hand. So I'm just going to do that for now. Get in the bottom piece too, and then we'll tighten it a little bit more, but not all the way, because like I said, we have to tighten the top of the brake caliper cover too. Just hand tighten it. This one's going in a lot easier. Okay, and let's do a couple turns of this one. All right, looks like we need to actually tighten this top one a little bit more. Let's go ahead and do that. Kind of let it rest like that. I'm going to come in over here, and we have these two holes here, and we want to take these pieces where the hole is and kind of just slide it under, and that's going to kind of clamp it to the caliper also. So once that's in, we can start putting in this bolt. Just tighten it like that, and now we can get the bottom one in and do the exact same thing. And same thing, tighten this bolt up once the bracket is aligned with the hole. Kind of do a little bit of that. And we're going to go back up here too. Tighten this up a little bit more. And don't go too hard with the Allen key if you have a ratchet, because we'll use the ratchet to really tighten it up. But I'm going to go back to the bottom side here and just fully tighten up these ones now that we got the top bolts in. So I'm going to use the smaller Allen key again and just fully tighten up the bottom bolts here. And we're just going to nicely tighten this one with the short Allen key while we push in, as we don't want to strip the bolt. Again, you want to get these nice and tight. There is, some vibration in this area since the wheels contact the road. Just going to nicely tighten it a little bit more up here. Okay, that feels super tight. Now I'm just going to fully tighten the bottom one. All right, that's fully tight now. And we'll just do the same thing with this. We'll take off the little tape here and put on that little diamond piece. And there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and put the wheel back on, and we'll take a final look at the car with the brake caliper covers on. So here's how this one looks with just the wheels without the wheel cover. So you can see it's a much bigger brake caliper on the front than the rear, of course. That's usually how it is. But this just looks super nice. Even without the logo, it looks super nice. Like I said, I'm going to put the Tesla logo on anyway in black color. You can get white also, or whatever other color. Yeah, let's go ahead and put the wheel cover on now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this install of the test launch brake caliper covers on the 2026 Model Y Juniper. Again, they have a bunch of different colors. Check it out. And I saw some very bad videos when I was going ahead and looking at the install instructions for these brake caliper covers. So I figured, let me go ahead and make the clearest video possible on how to install these. I put the camera right there where the action is, where the brackets are. So this is a little bit more involved of an install compared to the calipers for the first generation Model Y. A few more brackets and all, but still it's not a complicated install. It's just a lot of smaller pieces there. So I'll say this might take you about 45 minutes for all 4 wheels. Not too bad, just under an hour. So my next video after this will be some wheel covers from test launch to try out after trying out these ones. Those wheel covers will be the same exact design of the stock wheels without a wheel cover, but it'll actually fully protect the wheel and the rim as well, so you don't have to worry about curb rash at all. So check that out. That'll be my next video from test launch. You can save testlaunch.com with my code TFIG. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video.